The enigmatic allure of Minnesota's haunted places. Nestled in the heartland of America, Minnesota is a state where natural beauty and urban charm coexist in perfect harmony. From its sprawling forests and serene lakes to its bustling cities and quaint towns, this region offers a tapestry of landscapes that captivate the imagination. Yet, beneath its picturesque surface lies a darker, more mysterious side, one steeped in chilling tales of the supernatural. For centuries, Minnesota has been home to stories of unexplained phenomena, ghostly apparitions, and eerie encounters, making it a magnet for those who seek the thrill of the unknown. The fascination with haunted places in Minnesota stems not only from their abundance but also from the depth of their history. This state's haunted sites are as diverse as they are numerous, ranging from historic mansions and abandoned asylums to desolate roads and forgotten graveyards. Each location carries its own unique story, often rooted in tragedy or unresolved mysteries, adding layers of intrigue that beckon curious souls to explore further. Whether it's the lingering presence of a former resident, or the unsettling energy of a place where lives were lost, these haunted spots evoke a sense of wonder and fear that transcends time. In this article, we embark on a journey through some of the most haunted places in Minnesota, delving into the stories that have made them infamous. These tales are not just about ghosts, they are windows into the past, offering glimpses of events that continue to resonate in the present. By exploring these locations, we aim to uncover the secrets they hold and understand why they continue to haunt both the land and the minds of those who dare to visit. So, grab your flashlight and steel your nerves, because the shadows of Minnesota's haunted history are waiting to reveal themselves. The Wadena County Courthouse, a legacy of shadows in the small town of Wadena, Minnesota, stands a building steeped in history and mystery, the Wadena County Courthouse. Constructed in 1890, this stately structure served as the heart of local governance for decades, witnessing countless trials, verdicts, and human dramas unfold within its walls. But beyond its grand facade and towering clock tower lies a darker narrative, one whispered by courthouse employees, visitors, and paranormal investigators alike. Tales of unexplained phenomena and ghostly encounters have earned this landmark a reputation as one of Minnesota's most haunted sites, drawing curiosity seekers and skeptics alike to its hallowed halls. One of the most enduring legends surrounding the Wadena County Courthouse revolves around a tragic event that unfolded during its early years. In the late 1890s, a young woman named Eleanor Carter was said to have stood trial for a crime she vehemently denied committing. According to historical accounts, Eleanor was accused of poisoning her husband, a wealthy businessman whose death shocked the community. Despite her protests of innocence, the evidence against her seemed insurmountable, and she was sentenced to life in prison. Heartbroken and desperate, Eleanor reportedly hung herself in the courthouse's second-floor holding cell before her sentence could be carried out. Her final moments were marked by anguished cries that echoed through the building, a haunting refrain that many claim still lingers to this day. Decades later, the courthouse staff began reporting strange occurrences that defied logical explanation. Employees working late nights would often hear the faint sound of sobbing emanating from empty hallways, though no one was visible. Others described feeling an inexplicable coldness in certain areas of the building, particularly near the old holding cells. One custodian even claimed to have seen a shadowy figure resembling a woman in period clothing standing at the top of the staircase before vanishing into thin air. These reports gained traction when paranormal investigators conducted a series of overnight investigations at the site. Armed with cameras and audio equipment, they captured chilling evidence, disembodied whispers, flickering lights, and EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recordings that included phrases like, "I didn't do it," and "Let me go." While some dismiss these accounts as mere superstition or overactive imaginations, others believe that the courthouse holds residual energy from its turbulent past. Theories abound regarding why Eleanor's spirit might remain tethered to the location. Some suggest she seeks justice for her wrongful conviction, while others speculate that her emotional turmoil binds her to the scene of her despair. Regardless of the explanation, the Wadena County Courthouse continues to cast a long shadow over those who dare to step inside, blending history with haunting mystery in ways that defy easy answers. The ghostly secrets of the Fauché Tower, standing tall as a beacon of Minneapolis' skyline, the Fauché Tower carries an illustrious yet enigmatic history. Originally constructed in 1929 by Wilbur Fauché, an ambitious entrepreneur with dreams of rivaling New York skyscrapers, the tower was once the tallest building west of Chicago. Its elegant Art Deco design symbolized prosperity and innovation, quickly becoming a hub for business and social gatherings. However, beneath its polished exterior lay a tale of financial ruin and scandal, events that some say left an indelible mark on the building, infusing it with an eerie aura that persists to this day. The Fauché Tower's descent into darkness began shortly after its grand opening. Wilbur Fauché, eager to secure his legacy, had financed the project largely through investments solicited from friends, family, and associates. When the Great Depression struck in 1929, the economic collapse sent shockwaves through his empire, leaving him unable to repay his debts. Fauché was eventually tried and convicted of mail fraud, serving 3 years in federal prison. His fall from grace was swift and devastating, and many locals believed that his shame and regret lingered within the walls of the tower he had built. Over the decades, reports of paranormal activity at the Fauché Tower have surfaced, fueling its reputation as one of Minnesota's most haunted landmarks. Current occupants and visitors frequently recount unsettling experiences that defy rational explanation. Among the most common claims are sightings of a shadowy figure believed to be Wilbur Fauché himself. Witnesses describe seeing a well-dressed man pacing the upper floors late at night, his silhouette illuminated by the dim glow of antique light fixtures. Attempts to approach him result in his sudden disappearance, leaving behind only an oppressive silence. Other accounts describe strange auditory phenomena, such as the sound of footsteps echoing through empty corridors or distant voices murmuring incoherently. Employees working in the building's offices have reported hearing phantom telephones ringing in unused rooms, only to find no one on the other end when they answer. One particularly chilling incident involved a security guard who swore he saw a man in a vintage suit standing at the edge of the observation deck, gazing out over the city. As the guard approached to investigate, the figure turned toward him with hollow eyes and vanished without a trace. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from paranormal investigators who have explored the Fauché Tower over the years. Equipped with thermal imaging cameras and audio recording devices, they'd captured anomalies that defy conventional explanation. Temperature fluctuations in specific areas, orbs of light floating through the air, and EVP recordings of disembodied voices pleading for help or expressing remorse have all been documented. One investigator claimed to have recorded a chilling whisper saying, "I wanted greatness," believed to be a reflection of Fauché's unfulfilled ambitions. Despite its modern renovations and bustling occupancy, the Fauché Tower remains a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Whether it's the restless spirit of Wilbur Fauché seeking redemption, or the residual energy of a bygone era, the building continues to captivate those who dare to delve into its haunted history. For those brave enough to visit, the Fauché Tower offers not just breathtaking views of Minneapolis but also a glimpse into a world where the line between the living and the dead blurs ever so slightly. The sinister echoes of Gray Cloud Island, nestled along the Mississippi River in Washington County. Gray Cloud Island is a place shrouded in both natural beauty and unnerving folklore. Though seemingly tranquil with its lush greenery and serene waterways, this island has long been a hotspot for paranormal activity, earning its reputation as one of Minnesota's most haunted locations. Local legends paint a chilling picture of the supernatural forces that allegedly inhabit the area, weaving tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained phenomena, and malevolent entities that make Gray Cloud Island a destination for thrill-seekers and skeptics alike. One of the most pervasive stories tied to Gray Cloud Island involves the spirits of Native American tribes who once called the land home. Oral traditions passed down through generations speak of ancient burial grounds scattered across the island, sacred sites where the deceased were laid to rest with great reverence. Over time, however, settlers disturbed these graves during construction projects, leading to widespread belief that the spirits of the departed were angered by the desecration. Residents near the island often report hearing disembodied wails carried on the wind, particularly during moonlit nights. Some claim to have seen ethereal figures clad in traditional tribal attire wandering the woods, their translucent forms flickering like candlelight before vanishing into thin air. Another spine-chilling legend centers on the infamous, White Lady, of Grey Cloud Island. According to local lore, she was the victim of a tragic love affair gone awry. Stories vary, but one version recounts that she was betrayed by her lover and subsequently drowned herself in the river. Her ghost is said to roam the island, searching endlessly for closure, or perhaps vengeance. Visitors have described encountering a pale, spectral woman dressed in flowing white garments near the shoreline, her mournful gaze piercing through the mist. On occasion, witnesses report feeling an icy chill wash over them as though her presence lingers close by, only to turn and find no one there. Beyond individual ghost stories, Grey Cloud Island is notorious for its broader atmosphere of unease. Many who venture onto the island recount experiences that defy logical explanation. Campers and explorers tell of electronic devices behaving erratically, cell phones losing signal, flashlights flickering without cause, and car engines refusing to start upon departure. Others describe hearing footsteps crunching through leaves or branches snapping behind them, only to discover no one else around. One particularly disturbing account involves a group of teenagers who spent a night camping on the island. They claimed to wake up surrounded by claw-like markings etched into the dirt around their tents, as if some unseen force had circled them while they slept. The island's reputation extends beyond personal anecdotes, attracting paranormal investigators eager to document its alleged supernatural activity. Teams armed with infrared cameras and audio equipment have returned with intriguing findings. Thermal imaging footage has captured strange heat signatures moving through dense foliage, while EVP recordings feature eerie whispers and guttural growls that seem to emanate from nowhere. Some researchers believe these manifestations are remnants of violent conflicts between early settlers and indigenous tribes, suggesting that the land itself retains echoes of past trauma. The unsettling presence of St. James Hotel perched atop the banks of the Mississippi River in Red Wing, Minnesota. The St. James Hotel stands as a testament to Victorian elegance and timeless charm. Established in 1875, this historic inn has hosted luminaries ranging from Ulysses S. Grant to Mark Twain, its opulent interiors and storied past making it a jewel of the Midwest hospitality scene. Yet beneath its ornate chandeliers and rich mahogany furnishings lies a darker narrative, one whispered by guests and staff who have encountered the inexplicable. The hotel's long history is intertwined with tragedy and loss, giving rise to persistent rumors of paranormal activity that continue to intrigue and unsettle those who cross its threshold. One of the most prominent figures in the St. James Hotel's haunted lore is that of Carrie, a young woman whose tragic fate is said to have bound her spirit to the establishment. According to local accounts, Carrie worked as a chambermaid at the hotel during the late 19th century. Known for her quiet demeanor and dedication to her duties, she became romantically involved with a traveling salesman who frequented the inn. Their relationship blossomed in secret, but it ended abruptly when the salesman mysteriously disappeared after promising marriage. Devastated and heartbroken, Carrie took her own life in room 314, the very room she had meticulously prepared for what she hoped would be their future together. Since then, numerous guests staying in room 314 have reported strange occurrences. The scent of lavender perfume filling the air, the sound of soft humming echoing through the walls, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim to have seen a shadowy figure resembling a woman in a long dress standing by the window, gazing wistfully out at the river below. Carrie's presence, however, is not the only ghostly manifestation linked to the St. James Hotel. The building's basement, once used as storage space, is rumored to harbor the restless spirit of a former employee named Jack. Described as a gruff but hardworking man, Jack met a violent end during a robbery attempt in the early 1900s. Witnesses claim to hear muffled shouts and the clanging of metal tools coming from the basement, even when it sits empty and silent. Maintenance workers have reported tools going missing only to reappear in odd locations, while others described feeling an icy draft accompanied by a deep, guttural growl whenever they descend the stairs. Paranormal investigators who have explored the basement captured chilling EVP recordings, including one in which a voice distinctly says, "Get out!" Despite, or perhaps because of, its spectral inhabitants, the St. James Hotel remains a popular destination for tourists and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Its blend of luxury and mystery creates an irresistible allure, drawing people eager to experience both its historical grandeur and its otherworldly ambience. Whether it's the lingering presence of Carrie, the tormented soul of Jack, or some other unnamed entity, the spirits of the St. James Hotel continue to weave their stories into the fabric of its legacy, ensuring that its halls remain forever haunted by the echoes of the past. The mysteries of the Glenshean Mansion nestled along the shores of Lake Superior in Duluth, Minnesota. The Glenshean Mansion stands as a stunning relic of Gilded Age opulence. Built in 1908 for the Condon family, this sprawling estate spans 27,000 square feet and boasts 38 rooms, intricate woodwork, and breathtaking gardens. Yet, for all its beauty and grandeur, the mansion harbors a dark legacy that has cemented its status as one of the state's most haunted locations. Central to its haunting reputation is the infamous 1977 murder of Elizabeth Condon and her nurse, Velma Petola, which has left an indelible mark on the property and sparked relentless speculation about its supernatural activity. Elizabeth Condon, the last surviving heir of the Condon fortune, lived a life of privilege within the mansion's walls until her untimely death at the age of 93. On the night of June 27, 1977, authorities discovered her strangled in her bedroom, alongside Petola, who had suffered similar injuries. The investigation revealed that Marjorie Caldwell, Elizabeth's adopted daughter, and her husband Roger Caldwell orchestrated the brutal murders in an attempt to claim Elizabeth's inheritance. What followed was a highly publicized trial that gripped the nation, culminating in Marjorie's conviction and Roger's eventual suicide while awaiting extradition. While justice was served, the tragedy cast a pall over the mansion, transforming it into a site steeped in sorrow and suspicion. Since the murders, reports of paranormal activity at Glenshean have proliferated, drawing ghost hunters, historians, and curious visitors alike. Staff members and tour guides recount eerie encounters that defy logical explanation, attributing them to the restless spirits of Elizabeth and Velma. One of the most consistent reports involves the third-floor hallway outside Elizabeth's bedroom, where visitors have described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread or sadness. Cold spots are frequently noted in this area, accompanied by the faint scent of lavender, a fragrance Elizabeth was known to favor. Several individuals have even claimed to see a shadowy figure resembling an elderly woman standing near the doorframe of her former suite, only for it to vanish when approached. Velma Petola's presence, too, is said to linger within the mansion's walls. Employees tasked with maintaining the residence have reported hearing disembodied footsteps echoing through the lower levels, particularly near the kitchen and servants' quarters where she spent much of her time. Some described catching fleeting glimpses of a woman in a nurse's uniform out of the corner of their eye, only to turn and find no one there. Perhaps most unsettling are the accounts of objects moving inexplicably, books falling off shelves, doors creaking open on their own, and lights flickering without apparent cause. Paranormal investigators conducting overnight sessions have captured EVP recordings capturing fragmented phrases like, "Help me," and "Why did you do it?" voices believed to belong to Elizabeth and Velma, respectively. The abandoned wreckage of Taylor's Falls Scenic Drive-In, tucked away in the sleepy town of Taylor's Falls, Minnesota, lies a relic of Americana frozen in time, the Taylor's Falls Scenic Drive-In Theater. Once a vibrant hub for entertainment under the stars, this drive-in theater opened its gates in 1956, captivating audiences with its massive outdoor screen and the magic of cinema. Families would gather in their cars, tuning radios to catch the audio while savoring popcorn and milkshakes from the concession stand. For decades, it thrived as a cornerstone of summer nights, drawing crowds from miles around. But as multiplex theaters and streaming services rose to prominence, the drive-in's popularity waned, and by the early 2000s, it fell into disrepair, its once bright marquee now faded and crumbling. What remains today is a haunting tableau of rusted car frames, overgrown weeds, and a screen weathered by time, an eerie graveyard of nostalgia. Yet, the physical decay of the Taylor's Falls Scenic Drive-In is only part of its unsettling story. Urban legends and local folklore have transformed this abandoned site into a hotbed of paranormal activity, with reports of ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and inexplicable phenomena sending chills down the spines of those who dare to explore it. One prevailing tale centers on a young couple who tragically lost their lives in a fiery car crash during a late-night showing in the 1970s. According to the story, the accident occurred when the driver, distracted by the movie, veered off course and collided with a tree near the back rows. Both occupants perished instantly, their screams cutting through the peaceful hum of the evening. Locals claim that their spirits never left the premises, doomed to relive their final moments in an endless loop. Visitors to the abandoned drive-in often recount eerie encounters that align with this tragic backstory. Many describe hearing faint laughter and muffled dialogue drifting through the air, reminiscent of a crowd watching a film, despite the absence of any functioning equipment or audience. Others report spotting shadowy figures sitting in the skeletal remains of cars, their silhouettes illuminated briefly by passing headlights before dissolving into the darkness. One particularly chilling account involves a photographer who ventured onto the property after sunset. As he snapped photos of the dilapidated screen, his camera suddenly malfunctioned, displaying static-filled images of what appeared to be a young woman staring directly at him from inside a vehicle. When he turned to investigate, there was no one there. The drive-in's concession stand, now a decrepit shell of its former self, is another focal point of supernatural activity. Former employees and trespassers alike have spoken of hearing the faint jingle of cash registers and the clinking of soda bottles, as if invisible hands are still serving customers long after closing time. Some claim to smell the unmistakable aroma of buttered popcorn wafting through the air, even though no food has been prepared on site for years. More disturbing are the reports of disembodied whispers emanating from the shadows, often repeating phrases like, "Don't look," or, "They're here." Paranormal investigators who have braved the site have captured EVP recordings that include chilling statements such as, "We didn't mean to," and "Turn off the lights," adding credence to the theory that residual energy from past tragedies continues to haunt the grounds. The forgotten corridors of Rochester State Hospital in the heart of Rochester, Minnesota, lies a haunting relic of the state's psychiatric history, the Rochester State Hospital. Established in 1877, this sprawling complex was originally designed to provide care and treatment for individuals suffering from mental illnesses. At its peak, the hospital housed hundreds of patients, offering a range of therapies and support systems intended to foster recovery. However, over the decades, stories emerged detailing neglect, abuse, and inhumane conditions within its walls, casting a dark shadow over its mission of healing. Today, the abandoned structures stand as a grim monument to the suffering endured by those who called it home, their tragic fates giving rise to chilling tales of paranormal activity that continue to draw explorers and investigators alike. The hospital's decline began in the mid-20th century, as advancements in psychiatric medicine rendered large institutional facilities obsolete. Patients were gradually relocated to smaller, community-based care centers, leaving many of the hospital's buildings vacant. Official records indicate that the facility ceased operations entirely in the early 1980s, but whispers of its darker chapters persisted long after its closure. Accounts of overcrowding, forced isolation, and experimental treatments painted a harrowing picture of life within the institution. Some former patients spoke of being subjected to electroshock therapy without consent, while others recounted the anguish of being restrained for days on end. Tragically, not all who entered the hospital survived to tell their stories. Suicides, accidental deaths, and unexplained disappearances added to the somber legacy of the site. It is perhaps unsurprising, then, that the Rochester State Hospital has become synonymous with ghostly encounters and supernatural phenomena. Urban legends surrounding the location depict it as a labyrinth of terror, where the spirits of former patients and staff members wander aimlessly through decaying corridors. One of the most pervasive stories involves a young woman known only as the Crying Girl, whose sobs are said to echo through the empty halls at night. According to local lore, she was admitted to the hospital after suffering a severe mental breakdown and died under mysterious circumstances shortly thereafter. Visitors have reported hearing her mournful cries emanating from the women's ward, often accompanied by the sound of hurried footsteps retreating into the darkness. The whispering woods of Split Rock Lighthouse perch dramatically on the rugged cliffs of Lake Superior's north shore. Split Rock Lighthouse is one of Minnesota's most iconic landmarks. Built in 1910 to guide ships safely through treacherous waters, the lighthouse has long been a symbol of resilience and maritime history. Yet, its picturesque setting belies a darker narrative, one woven with tales of shipwrecks, lost souls, and spectral encounters that have earned it a reputation as one of the state's most haunted locations. Beyond its guiding beam and sturdy stone walls lies a realm of mystery, where the echoes of tragedy reverberate through time, drawing visitors into a world where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur. The haunting lore of Split Rock Lighthouse is deeply tied to the perilous waters it sought to tame. In November 1905, 5 years before the lighthouse's construction, a devastating storm swept across Lake Superior, sinking nearly 30 vessels and claiming countless lives. The wreckage of these ships littered the shoreline, their broken hulls a grim testament to nature's fury. One of the most infamous casualties was the William Edenborn, a massive steel freighter that broke apart near the cliffs, leaving its crew stranded in the frigid waves. Only a handful survived, clinging to debris until rescuers arrived. It is said that the spirits of those who perished in the storm remain tethered to the area, their anguished cries carried by the wind and their faces glimpsed in the swirling mists offshore. Within the lighthouse itself, stories of ghostly activity abound. Keepers and their families who once occupied the quarters have reported strange occurrences that defy explanation. One recurring legend involves the ghost of a former keeper named Franklin, who served during the early 20th century. According to local accounts, Franklin became increasingly reclusive after his wife passed away unexpectedly, spending hours gazing out at the lake from the lantern room. After his death, staff members claimed to see his figure illuminated by the glow of the lamp, his silhouette visible even when no one was present. Others describe hearing the rhythmic sound of footsteps ascending the spiral staircase, only to find the tower empty upon investigation. The shadows of Minnesota's past. Minnesota's haunted places are more than mere curiosities. They are portals to the state's deepest scars and most poignant memories. Each site touched by tragedy or unresolved conflict carries with it a residue of emotion, grief, betrayal, fear, that transcends time, binding the living to the echoes of the past. The Woodinna County Courthouse, with its anguished cries and shadowy figure of Eleanor Carter, embodies the injustice of wrongful convictions and the despair of those who sought redemption but found only despair. Similarly, the Fauché Tower's lingering presence of Wilbur Fauché speaks to the fragility of ambition and the crushing weight of failure. These stories remind us that history is not merely a sequence of events but a tapestry woven with human emotion, where every thread tells a story of struggle, loss, and longing. The connection between tragedy and haunting is undeniable, as evidenced by sites like Gray Cloud Island and the Rochester State Hospital. Here, the pain of displacement, abuse, and neglect has left indelible marks on both the land and the collective consciousness. The Native American spirits said to wander Gray Cloud Island reflect centuries of dispossession and cultural erasure, their wails a haunting reminder of injustices that have yet to be fully acknowledged. Meanwhile, the spectral cries and shadowy figures within the abandoned halls of Rochester State Hospital bear witness to the dark legacy of institutionalization, where compassion was too often replaced by cruelty. Embracing the shadows, your turn to explore. As we bring our journey through Minnesota's haunted places to a close, it's clear that these sites offer far more than spine-tingling tales. They are invitations to delve deeper into the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of everyday life. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal enthusiast or a curious newcomer, the stories of the Woodinna County Courthouse, Fauché Tower, Gray Cloud Island, and others beckon you to step into their shadows and uncover the secrets they hold. But don't let the exploration end here. These haunted landmarks are not merely relics of the past. They are living, breathing puzzles waiting to be solved by those brave enough to engage with them. If you've ever felt a chill run down your spine while walking through an old building or sensed an inexplicable presence in a quiet room, you already know the pull of the supernatural. Why not take that curiosity further? Plan a visit to one of these storied locations, armed with an open mind and perhaps a flashlight or camera. Document your experiences, share them with others, and contribute to the ever-growing tapestry of Minnesota's haunted history. Who knows, you might capture evidence of something extraordinary, or simply walk away with a newfound appreciation for the intangible forces that shape our world. And remember, you're not alone in this quest. Our haunted storytelling channel thrives on the contributions of viewers like you. Whether it's sharing your own ghostly encounters, discussing theories about the paranormal, or simply engaging with fellow fans of the macabre, your voice matters. Subscribe to our channel, join the conversation in the comments, and don't hesitate to reach out with your thoughts or questions. Together, we can keep the spirit of exploration alive, shining a light into the darkness and uncovering